You know, fall fishing is a great time of year. The weather's beautiful, the trees are turning, it's very picturesque out on the lake, and the bass are feeding up on shad. Today we're going to talk about a few baits and some techniques, look at a few catches as well, and talk about ways to add some flash to your bass fishing this fall to put more bass in the boat. Stay tuned. Shane Flynn Outdoors, brought to you by Omnia Fishing. Experience the most personalized tackle shopping on earth. And by MMA Fishing, fight the bite. And by Lead Time Batteries, the ultimate power solution for your boating needs. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! What a big girl! Hey everybody, thanks for stopping back by the channel. Today we're going to talk about 3 baits that'll help you add a little flash to catching fall bass. Now, one of the things we all know in the fall, the bass just feed up, feed up, feed up. They're chasing shad and they're chasing them all around. Now, there's a few things that you need to consider though, depending on where you live at in the United States. One of the things that a lot of fishermen make a mistake of is fishing real shallow this time of year. But if you look behind me, you see all that dead vegetation? Bass don't really like to hang out around dead vegetation. So a lot of times they'll move out to 8, 10, 12 foot of water. Matter of fact, today I talked to a few fishermen on this lake. They caught a few dinks when they were fishing shallow. Well, I found them in 10 to 12 foot of water. And you got to have some techniques around to help you catch them when they're in that 10 to 12 foot of water. Now, they may move back up shallow once the vegetation breaks down and is not a factor later on in the fall. But they start chasing those shad schools out, and they can be in that 10, 12, 15, 17, 18 foot of water on humps, on points, suspended points and things of that nature. So you need to have a few baits that you can fish out in that deeper water that can help you be successful. So the first one I'm going to talk to you about, everybody fishes this, but I put a little spin on it, no pun intended when you see it, and that's the Zoom fluke. Now this is a super magnum fluke, and this is an albino cover 5/0 hook, but what I did, and this is not uncommon, but it's helped me catch some fish, is I put an underspin on there, a little silver willow leaf blade on the back of that. And the way that I like to fish this when I throw it out there is I let this die, especially if they're fishing, and this one's weighted, by the way. It's weighted with a 1/4 ounce weight on the bottom. And for those fish that are down in that 10 to 12 foot of water, what I tend to do is when I throw it out, I let it sink for about 6, 7, 8 seconds, depending on how deep it is. And then I just give it that rip, just like you'd fish a Zoom, and then I let it die, that spinner's spinning, and the Zoom fluke, because it's weighted, kind of spirals down. And usually about, if I got it right, about the 2nd or 3rd pump, they'll usually hammer it, depending on the depth. But that's the way I like to fish it. Throw it out and just let it kind of sink a little bit. That spinner spinning on the way down and it's spiraling down, and then start ripping it in. Let it die, rip it in. Now when it's a little bit shallower, if they are on like a 6, 8, 10 foot flat versus a 12, 15 foot, I don't let it sink very long and I will rip it in a lot faster. But I think that spinner adds a little bit of flash to the Zoom fluke and helps you catch a few more bass. I'll take a look here in just a second. I caught this down in Alabama when I was in a tournament down there on Lake Eufaula. But you know, this was in a ditch, a little deeper, right off the edge. There was vegetation around, but he was somewhat in a ditch that I caught him in. But adding that flash on the bottom of your Zoom fluke and a little bit of weight can help you get on some fish, and for me, it's helped me pick up fish, and I hope it helps you a little bit too. So, Bill, we'll take a little quick look at that catch there that I had actually last weekend there in Alabama.
All right, ready? Net. Yeah, all right. So we're fishing all day. It's after lunchtime. Shane finally hooked up on a good fish. Over here, yeah. On the side of the boat.
I'm trying to, but he's got my drag set up.
All right, good keeper. Very nice. All right, there we go. Full beans.
That's a 3-pounder.
Yep.
Solid 3-pounder. Best fish we had all day. I had one keeper come off, but the best fish we had all day. Okay, everybody, the second bait I want to talk to you about to add a little flash to your game. I caught a lot of fish on this bait. Caught some big fish, caught an 8-pounder on this technique here recently. And that is the underspin. Now this is a 3/8 underspin if I'm not mistaken. This is a dirty jigs underspin with that willow leaf on there. I like a 1/4 ounce depending on what the depth the bass are hanging out in. And I've been fishing it on either a Rapala Crush City freeloader or a Hog Farmer Spunk Shad, and that's what this is, a Hog Farmer Spunk Shad. This is a 5-inch, and the pintail. And you can see that tail has a lot of action. And what I do when I throw this bait is especially great when the bass are suspended. When the bass are suspended, you can keep this at a steady, say 8, 7, 6, whatever depth you need to keep the bait at. I throw it out and let it sink just for a few seconds, and I constantly reel and I bounce the rod tip. And by bouncing the rod tip, it makes that tail wag a lot. And you get to keep the bait in that same depth range, 7, 8, 10, whatever feet you need it in to catch those bass. Really, really effective to catch bass this time of year. I think the flash that you have on the back of on the bottom really helps the bass to hone in on this bait. And they just hammer it. And when they hammer it, they hammer it. It's got that exposed hook, so you're not gonna miss many bass on this technique. It's been really good, and I think it'll be good way until, through the winter. I think this is a good fall and winter bait, especially when the bass are chasing and they're on those bait fish. That little flash, stands out amongst all the bait that they're chasing and will probably get you a bite. So consider adding a underspin. And like I said, this is a Dirty Jig brand. You can use any type of trailer you want or grub. I really like the pintail action on the Crush City freeloader and on the Hog Farmer Spunk Shad. Both have really great action. We'll take a look at a pretty nice catch here from this bait.
I got him. No, it's the bass. Oh, 4-pounder. Oh, there we go. Another one on the underspin. Good. Nice. I ain't not quite 4. At least 3.5, man. Fat. Real fat bass. That underspin, they can't resist.
So folks, the last bait that I'm going to talk about is not going to surprise anybody. It is one of the greatest baits to fish in the fall. And it's got a lot of flash. As a matter of fact, it is always on my deck in the fall, the winter, and the spring, and you've seen me catch a lot of giant fish on it. But I have to talk about it because it's such a great bait. It's the spinnerbait. Now this one is a double Colorado. I've been flipping around today a little bit in white and gold. Depending on your forage in your lake or your river, whatever you're fishing, you want to experiment with the colors. White's a great color this time of year because most of your bait fish, the predominant color on a bait fish is white. White and blue, white and black. The forage of your lake kind of match that hatch. And depending on the color of the water, I use gold or silver. I like silver primarily in clearer water. I like gold in dirtier water this time of year. But I like to mix it up. Sometimes I'll have a silver willow leaf blade and a gold Colorado and vice versa. Colorado blades, I like big number 6 Colorados and a number 5 on a double Colorado because I can slow it down. And I'm not throwing this spinnerbait against the bank. I'm throwing this spinnerbait on suspended fish. I'm spinning on humps, on ledges, and I like to fish a 1 ounce or a 3/4 ounce this time of year because I can slow it down with the bigger blades and get that spinnerbait to suspend at 8, 10, 12 feet and right above their heads, wherever I need to keep it, for them to come up and hammer it. So spinnerbait's just a great bait. Fish it in open water. It's a great bait this time of year. You'll see me catch a lot of fish, I promise you. If you've been watching this channel, you've seen me catch a lot of big fish on a spinnerbait. But it is just a really, really great bait this time of year. Experiment with your colors, experiment with the blades. I honestly probably have 200 spinnerbaits. And I'll change the blades out on them from one blade color to another. And matter of fact, I think I'm gonna buy some bodies and over the winter experiment and make some different types of spinnerbaits. Who knows? But one of the greatest baits you can fish in the fall. Definitely adds the flash, It adds the vibration and you will catch some fish. And don't be afraid to throw it in open water, over humps, on flats. You can catch fish on a spinnerbait in the fall. Hey everybody, there you go. There's 3 baits that can help add some flash to your fall fishing. I hope these techniques work for you. Adding those little bit of spinners on there and a big spinnerbait can help you catch bass, especially when the bass move away from the vegetation out onto flats and points and humps suspended on those shad. These 3 baits can help you catch those fish. Heck, even if you are down in Florida and your vegetation never dies off, adding a little flash can't hurt to help you catch a big bass. So hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, tight lines and have fun fishing.